The killer. No one suspected. Karl Denke was not feared, avoided, or distrusted. He was known as a quiet, polite man who lived a modest life in a small German town. Neighbors described him as helpful and unremarkable, someone who blended perfectly into everyday routine. A respectable image. Denke maintained the appearance of a harmless citizen. He attended church, greeted neighbors, and lived without visible conflict. There were no public outbursts, no signs of aggression, and no reputation for violence. Normality became his shield. Life in isolation. Despite appearing socially acceptable, Denke lived largely alone. His personal life was minimal, his relationships shallow. Isolation was not dramatic, but persistent. Days passed without meaningful connection. Economic struggle and frugality. Denke lived cheaply and carefully. He saved what little he earned and avoided unnecessary expenses. Nothing about his lifestyle suggested excess or danger. He appeared disciplined, almost invisible. The first incident. Attention turned to Denke only after a violent encounter went wrong. A man managed to escape an attack and reported it to authorities. This single event broke years of silence. A search that changed everything. Police searched Denke's home, expecting minor evidence. What they found instead contradicted every assumption. The reality inside his living space revealed a hidden world no one imagined. A house with secrets. The interior of Denke's home was orderly on the surface, but concealed disturbing details. Items stored carefully. Containers labeled. Evidence of repeated acts rather than a single moment of violence. Shock and disbelief. Investigators struggled to reconcile what they saw with who Denke appeared to be. The contrast between public image and private reality was extreme. The idea that this man could be responsible felt impossible. The scale emerges. As evidence was cataloged, it became clear this was not an isolated case. Patterns emerged. Repetition, method, duration. The crimes spanned far longer than anyone expected. A community in denial. Neighbors reacted with disbelief. Many refused to accept the findings. Denke had been polite, helpful, quiet. Admitting the truth meant admitting how easily normality can deceive. The power of appearance. Denke's greatest protection was not intelligence or secrecy. It was familiarity. People trusted what felt ordinary. Suspicion never formed because nothing appeared out of place. Questions without answers. Investigators sought motives, timelines, explanations. Why had no one noticed? How had this gone on unnoticed? Each question pointed back to the same conclusion. No one was looking closely. The moment of collapse. Once exposed, Denke's carefully maintained image disintegrated instantly. The quiet man, the polite neighbor, the harmless citizen, all vanished under evidence that could not be denied. A case that defied expectation. This was not violence born from chaos or rage. It was methodical, repetitive, and hidden behind routine. That made it harder to understand and harder to accept. The limits of trust. The case forced authorities and communities to confront a difficult reality. Trust based solely on appearance is fragile. Normality does not equal safety. A story still unfolding. At this stage, investigators were only beginning to understand the scope of what had occurred. The full implications had yet to emerge. The investigation deepens. As police continued their work, the scale of the case became increasingly clear. Evidence suggested a long period of activity rather than a recent escalation. Each new discovery extended the timeline further back into the past. Method and routine. Investigators identified patterns that pointed to repetition and structure. This was not impulsive violence. It followed routine. Preparation, execution, and concealment were carried out in a consistent manner over time. The diary of horror. Written records were found that documented names, dates, and actions. The existence of these notes removed any doubt about intent. They showed awareness, memory, and repetition rather than confusion or accident. A mind without panic. Denke did not react with visible fear or anger when confronted. His behavior suggested resignation rather than shock. The calmness disturbed investigators more than resistance would have. Community shame and guilt. As details emerged, the community struggled with collective guilt. People questioned their own judgments. How had they trusted so easily? How had nothing seemed wrong? Media attention. Newspapers reported the case with disbelief and sensationalism. Headlines emphasized the contrast between Denke's image and his actions. The public fascination was fueled by the idea that evil could hide behind politeness. A case without a trial. Denke never faced a full trial. Before proceedings could begin, the case ended abruptly. This sudden ending left many questions unanswered and denied society a formal reckoning. Unfinished justice. Without a trial, there was no courtroom narrative, no public confrontation, and no structured explanation. The evidence existed, but closure did not. The victims remain. Focus shifted toward identifying victims and understanding the extent of harm. Many were travelers, drifters, or people without strong social ties. Their absence had gone unnoticed. The role of social invisibility. This case highlighted how easily people on the margins disappear. When victims are invisible, crimes can continue without pressure or urgency. Lessons for society. Denke's story challenged assumptions about danger. Violence does not always announce itself. Sometimes it wears politeness and routine as camouflage. The failure of assumptions. Trust based on appearance proved unreliable. The belief that danger looks dangerous was exposed as false. Familiarity had replaced vigilance. A warning that endures. The case became a reference point in discussions about trust, community responsibility, and the limits of perception. It remains unsettling precisely because it feels possible anywhere. Final thoughts. Karl Denke was not discovered because someone saw through his disguise. He was discovered because chance intervened. His story remains a reminder that normality can be a mask, and that unquestioned trust can allow the unimaginable to persist.